What's going on, boys? It is day number 18 of reading through the book of Job. We are going to be looking at a different response today from one of Job's friends that actually had a response a couple chapters ago, but now has come back into play and is a man by the name of Bildad. I'm probably saying that wrong, but just bear with me here. So for today, we're going to be looking at his response. I have two sections we're going to look at, so pretty short, not as long video as, you usually are. But first, I want to take a look at, his immediate response that he gives at the beginning of the chapter. And this is verses 2 and 3. He says, "When will you end these speeches?" So this is his direct response to Job. "Be sensible, and then we can talk. Why are we regarded as cattle and considered stupid in your sight?" So, Bildad's like, "Hey man, like, you got to take hold of yourself here and realize what you have. Like, be real here. Like, don't, say all these, like, crazy, words. Be real. Like, be you. Like, speak what's on your heart. Like, don't say all these things to make, yourself seem like you're just that down bad. I mean, you're not. And, understand that, remember why such things have occurred. And, he utilizes the word stupid. And, most, it's a pretty common word that, we hear in modern society today. People say that to each other all the time. But, it's a common word of stupidity that we have that, stupidity can run our minds sometimes. And when it does, it leads us to, think certain thoughts about how we view other people or how we view a certain action that we may have done in the past. And the problem is that, it's one of those things, once it occurs in your mind, it is so difficult to remove because it's something that has control of your mind, and you let it keep occurring, and you keep repeating it in your mind. And I myself find myself in that position many a times, just thinking the craziest things about what things could occur and the stupidity and about dumb decisions, and come to find out nothing really, was going to happen in the first place. So I think if anything for Job here, but I was like, look, man, like, just relax. Like, look, take a step back. Like, take a chill pill, dude. And, remember, we're here for you. We're here to, encourage you. We're not just these animals that are just following you around that you can just, rally up into a pen. But, we're here to, talk to you. We're here to, be your friends, because that's what friends do. Friends are there for each other, willing to be there through the ups and downs. That's what true friendship means. And, it's like, look, and he goes on, and mainly in the rest of the chapter, he's like, look, this is what you're doing to yourself, and this is what's going to happen if you keep doing this to yourself. And I, don't want to read the whole kind of section that he reads, but I do want to read 16 through 19 of the verses. He says here, "His roots dry up below, and his branches wither above. The memory of him perishes from the earth. He has no name in the land. He is driven from the light into the realm of darkness, and is banned from the world. He has no offspring or descendants among his people." So, a man has the ability to halt a whole generation by the choices he makes. So, he has the ability to choose whether or not he wants to, pass on what he knows to a next generation. So whether that's his kids, or maybe some friends, or whatever. But what happens here is that, the more that stupidity begins to run your mind, it begins to lead you in a path to where there's so many of these traps that take hold of your life that eventually you get led up into an area where there's so many things that have overtaken your mind, you don't have self-control, and you get led all over the place, and it leads you into an even more darker path than when you were before. And that's not what we want. It leads you to a path where you don't have people that can care for you. You don't have people that can trust you because they don't believe that you can handle it. They don't believe that you're actually being real. And that's where, Bildad's like, look, man, look what you're about. Look what you're going. Like, I'm trying to help you before you end up in this position. Like, look, you gotta man up here. Like, look, what's going on? Like, you gotta wake up. Whatever dream is holding you down, you gotta be willing to just, get up, like, sit up from it, just learn from it. Learn that God has done this for a reason, and just pray to God, and I promise He will answer you. Be fruitful, because as others depend on you for survival and efficiency. more importantly, they depend on you for their faith. They depend on you for, providing what the information that they can use to remain faithful and remain overall just passionate. Because oftentimes that's how we thrive, is we depend on other people, not in a way to say that, they are supposed to feed us and everything, but we depend on them for, being there for us in those dark times. So I think the, overall messages for today is that, have somebody in your life that you can not necessarily depend on, not like your parents or anything, but someone that you can, really pull on. Maybe it's, a close friend, or maybe a family member, or maybe someone at your church or whatever. Have them to pull from, where you can text them or meet with them, be able to just share and be open and just share those thoughts, because sometimes, a lot of us get into that position where we feel so embarrassed that we just have to hide it and let these thoughts run through. You're like, man, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. Eventually, it's going to put us into this stupidity that we just read. And we don't want that. We want to be willing to let go of these negative thoughts and help process them. And the only way we do that is by having fellowship and having times together where we just embrace and open up, regardless of what it is. Regardless of what we've been through, what we've seen, what we believe, like whatever thoughts we have, we just share it. Just share whatever's on your mind. Like, don't be hesitant. We are supposed to be willing to, be fruitful and be honest. And sometimes that means you have to say things that aren't exactly what you really want to say, but, if it makes you feel relieved and it takes that weight off your shoulders, by all means, go ahead. But that is the end of today's word. I hope you guys have had a great week. I hope you have enjoyed the weather. It's been very hot here in Eastern North Carolina, like 90 degrees almost every day. We did actually have some rain today, so hopefully the rain may come in and cool it off a little bit. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope to see you guys very soon. Peace out, boys.